High above the clouds, a lost city emerges. We glide over the Andes, revealing the breathtaking expanse of Machu Picchu. Witness the genius of Inca engineering in the precise cuts of the Temple of the Sun. Each stone tells a story of a civilization in perfect harmony with its sacred landscape. Nestled in the clouds, surrounded by towering peaks and the winding Urubamba River, this sanctuary remains a testament to a powerful empire. As dusk settles, watch the sun cast its final golden rays, painting the ancient stones in hues of fire and shadow. The lost city that was never actually lost. Locals always knew its location, and Hiram Bingham found farmers living there in 1911. Perched high in the Andes, it is known to the world as the lost city of the Incas, a mysterious citadel abandoned for centuries and forgotten by time. The legend tells of a heroic American explorer, Hiram Bingham, who in 1911 hacked his way through the jungle to reveal its breathtaking splendor to the world. But this story, the one we've all heard, is only a fraction of the truth. The city was never actually lost. When Hiram Bingham arrived, he didn't find silent ruins, he found people. Local Quechua families, whose ancestors had built this sacred place, were living there, farming the ancient terraces just as they had for generations. A local farmer, Melchor Arteaga, was the one who led Bingham to the site. The world may have forgotten Machu Picchu, but its people never did. Today, the narrative is shifting. It's no longer a story of discovery, but one of cultural endurance. The true legacy of Machu Picchu isn't that it was lost and found, but that it has always been home. Behold the walls of the Inca Empire, where stones weighing over 100 tons fit together so perfectly that not even a blade of grass can pass between them. These citadels perched on mountaintops seem to defy logic. How did a civilization without the wheel, without draft animals and without iron tools, achieve such architectural wonders? The answer lies not in magic, but in human ingenuity and immense collective effort. Imagine hundreds of men pulling as one, dragging colossal stones up steep, carefully constructed earthen ramps. They used massive levers made from hardwood logs to pry and pivot these giants inch by painstaking inch. This was a symphony of strength and simple physics. But moving the stones was only half the battle. The true genius of the Inca was in the fitting. Using harder river stones, they meticulously pounded and ground each block to match its neighbors, creating a seismic-proof puzzle of interlocking rock. This wasn't just construction, it was artistry on a monumental scale. The legacy of the Inca is written in stone, a testament to what a society can achieve with vision, unity, and an unparalleled mastery of their environment. The stone walls of the Inca are a marvel of precision, so perfectly joined that they seem fused into a single, seamless surface. But this design is not just for beauty. It is a form of forgotten genius. The Incas built their empire in one of the most seismically active regions on Earth, the Ring of Fire, where the ground trembles with devastating frequency. Any ordinary wall would be reduced to rubble. So how have these structures stood for over 500 years? The secret lies in their ability to move. Using a technique known as ashlar masonry, each stone was cut and fitted with such incredible precision that during an earthquake, the walls don't break, they dance. The stones vibrate independently, jostling against each other, releasing the seismic energy. Then as the tremor subsides, they settle back into their exact original positions. The proof is etched in history. In Cusco, the Spanish built a church atop the sacred Inca Temple of the Sun. Earthquakes have damaged the church multiple times, yet its Inca foundation remains untouched. This wasn't just building. It was a conversation with the land itself, an architecture designed not to resist nature, but to move with it. From above, Machu Picchu seems almost impossibly placed, a stone city clinging to a knife-edge ridge flanked by abysses. For centuries, this location was seen as a purely spiritual or defensive choice. But recent geological studies reveal a secret far more pragmatic, a true masterstroke of Inca engineering. Machu Picchu was deliberately built directly on top of a series of intersecting tectonic fault lines. Why build your prized citadel on broken ground? Because the Incas understood something we didn't. They saw the faults not as a hazard, but as a resource. The immense pressure from the faults had already done the hardest work, fracturing the hard granite into manageable pieces. This gave them a ready-made quarry of building materials right at the construction site. Furthermore, In a region that receives over 6 feet of rain a year, these same fractures provided the perfect natural drainage system, channeling water away from the city's foundations and preventing catastrophic erosion. What appeared to be a city's greatest weakness was, in fact, its greatest strength. The Incas didn't just build on the mountain, they harnessed its very geological soul. When we look at Machu Picchu, we see a breathtaking city of stone, a masterpiece of surface architecture. But what we are seeing is only a fraction of the story. In reality, an estimated 60% of the entire construction is invisible, buried deep underground. This is the city's hidden genius. The Incas were building on a steep, unstable mountain ridge in a climate with torrential rainfall. To prevent their sacred city from simply washing away, they first engineered the mountain itself. Those iconic green terraces are not merely garden beds. They are the exposed tops of massive retaining walls, with deep foundations that create a series of steps anchoring the city into the bedrock. Beneath the plazas and walkways, they laid a complex drainage system, a deep bed of crushed gravel and rock that acts as a giant sponge. This underground network catches the heavy rains and channels them safely away, ensuring the foundations remain solid. The greatest marvel of Machu Picchu is not what you see, but what you don't. It is a city built on an invisible foundation of brilliant engineering, designed to last forever. At the highest point of Machu Picchu stands a single enigmatic stone, carved from the bedrock itself, the Intihuatana. Its name in Quechua means the hitching post of the sun. It was not just a sculpture, but a precise astronomical instrument, a sacred clock that connected the Inca to the cosmos. Its most vital function was to mark the winter solstice, the shortest day of the year. For a civilization dependent on agriculture, this was a moment of great anxiety. Would the sun abandon them to darkness and cold? Here, the high priest would perform a powerful ritual. As the sun reached its lowest point, casting the longest shadow of the year, the priest would symbolically tie the sun to the stone, pleading with it to return, to begin its journey back north and bring with it life for the coming season. But the stone's genius didn't end there. During the equinoxes, the sun stands directly above the pillar, casting no shadow at all, a moment of perfect balance between the heavens and the earth. The Intihuatana stone is a testament to a people who did not just live on the land, but who lived in deep spiritual alignment with the universe itself. The genius of Machu Picchu is not just in its walls but in its windows. They are not random openings for light or air, but portals to the cosmos, meticulously designed to track the heavens. Nowhere is this more apparent than in the Temple of the Sun. On the dawn of the winter solstice, the shortest day of the year, a single beam of sunlight enters through a precisely angled window, falling upon a sacred granite stone. This event marked the sun's return, the promise of new life and the start of a new agricultural year. But the sun was not their only guide. In other structures, windows aligned perfectly with the rising of the Pleiades constellation, which signaled the beginning of the harvest. Each window, each building, was a note in a celestial symphony. They were stone observatories, solar calendars and star charts integrated into the very fabric of the city. Machu Picchu was more than a home. It was a celestial clock, an earthly reflection of the cosmos, a testament to a civilization that wrote its calendar in light and stone. The Inca Empire was one of the largest and most sophisticated in the ancient world. They built thousands of miles of roads, managed a sprawling agricultural system, and administered millions of people. Yet they did all of this without a single character of written language. So how did they record their history, manage their economy, and track their empire? The answer lies in a remarkable and enigmatic device, the quipu. These intricate arrangements of knotted strings were the Incas' books, their spreadsheets, and their archives. Read by specialists called quipucamayaks, the quipus were a sophisticated three-dimensional system of data storage. The position, type, and color of the knots could record vast amounts of numerical information, from census data and tax obligations to calendars and crop harvests. But many researchers believe the quipu was more than just an abacus. They theorized that specific combinations of knots and colors might have held narrative information, stories, histories, and laws encoded in a language of string. Today, only a few hundred quipus survive, and their deepest secrets remain largely undeciphered. They are a haunting reminder of a unique form of human intellect, a library of lost information, tied in knots of silence. For decades, we have called it the lost city of the Incas, a mysterious, bustling metropolis abandoned in the clouds. But archaeological evidence tells a different story. Machu Picchu was likely never a city at all. Most experts now believe it was something far more exclusive, the private royal estate of the great Inca emperor Pachacuti. It was not a place for the masses, but a seasonal sanctuary for the emperor, his family, and his royal court. The finest buildings show a level of craftsmanship far exceeding that of a typical Inca settlement, reserved only for the highest royalty. The population was small, likely no more than 750 people, mostly nobles and their support staff. They would travel here to escape the cold, harsh winters of the capital, Cusco, retreating to this lower, warmer climate. It was a place of rest, ritual, and governance away from the public eye. So when we look at Machu Picchu, we are not seeing a lost city. We are seeing a lost palace, a mountaintop Versailles, the personal sacred playground of the most powerful man in the Americas. The sheer scale of Machu Picchu paints a picture of a thriving city. But this is a grand illusion. At its zenith, this mountain sanctuary was home to no more than 500 to 750 people. It was never a city, but an exclusive, self-contained community, a world away from the common life of the Inca Empire. Its residents were not ordinary citizens. They were the elite, high priests who spoke to the gods, master artisans who perfected its stonework, and the chosen women, or akalas, who served the emperor and the sun god Inti. This hand-picked population lived a life of specialized duty. They tended the terraces not to feed an empire, but to supply their own small high-status community. They maintained the temples, served the nobility, and ran the royal estate. Machu Picchu's greatness wasn't in its population, but in its purpose. It was a finely tuned machine of religious ceremony, astronomical observation, and imperial service, a sanctuary where every resident was a vital part of a sacred, exclusive world. For a century, it was a jewel of the Inca Empire, a perfect sacred estate thriving in the clouds. But just 100 years after its construction, Machu Picchu was empty. For years, the mystery of its sudden abandonment puzzled historians. There were no signs of war or invasion. The Spanish, who toppled the Inca Empire, never even found it. So why did its people leave? The answer, many archaeologists now believe, is a tragedy that unfolded in silence. It was an invisible enemy, disease. Smallpox, brought to the Americas by the first European arrivals, spread through the continent's vast trade networks far faster than the conquistadors themselves. This plague, against which the indigenous people had no immunity, would have reached the isolated community of Machu Picchu with devastating speed. Faced with an unstoppable sickness, the remaining survivors would have been forced to flee, leaving everything behind. In a tragic irony, the very isolation that made Machu Picchu so vulnerable also became its salvation. Hidden from the Spanish, it was never looted or destroyed, left to sleep under a blanket of jungle for nearly 400 years. We marvel at the genius of Machu Picchu, the impossible stonework, the celestial alignments. But one of its greatest secrets isn't man-made at all. It's hidden in plain sight. Look again past the ruins and rotate your view of the iconic peak Huayna Picchu. Do you see it? A colossal human face carved by nature gazing eternally at the sky. This is no accident. To the Inca, mountains were not just rock and ice, they were apus, powerful living deities. The discovery of a mountain that literally watched over the valley would have been a profound sign, the ultimate divine approval. It's highly likely that this giant stone profile is the very reason Machu Picchu was built in this specific location. It was constructed in dialogue with the mountain god. Every temple, every plaza was built under its watch. The estate wasn't just on the mountain, it was a tribute to the mountain. So when you look at Machu Picchu, remember you are also looking at the face of a god, the silent stone guardian that has watched over this sacred place for eternity. Machu Picchu is a wonder of the world. And for decades, the world has flocked to see it, but its immense popularity became its greatest threat. The very ground, once walked only by Inca royalty, was being worn away by millions of footsteps. The delicate ecosystem and irreplaceable structures were crumbling under the pressure of mass tourism. Before it was too late, a drastic decision was made. In partnership with the Peruvian government, UNESCO stepped in. The age of unrestricted access was over. Today, visiting Machu Picchu is a privilege strictly controlled to save it from being loved to death. Only a limited number of tickets are sold each day, often months in advance. Visitors must choose a specific time slot and follow one of several designated one-way circuits. You can no longer wander freely. These rules may seem strict, but they are the site's lifeline. They allow this fragile citadel to breathe, heal, and stand for centuries to come, ensuring that the lost city of the Incas is never truly lost. Machu Picchu floats among the clouds, a city built at the edge of the sky. But its breathtaking beauty comes with a hidden challenge: the air itself. Situated at 2,430 meters, or nearly 8,000 feet, the atmosphere holds significantly less oxygen. For the unprepared visitor, the first encounter with this altitude can be humbling. The slightest exertion can leave you breathless, a condition known locally as soroche, or altitude sickness. But the Inca, who built and inhabited this citadel, had an ancient and sacred solution: the coca leaf. For thousands of years, indigenous Andean people have chewed these leaves. It is not a drug, but a mild stimulant and a cultural cornerstone, revered for its ability to ward off fatigue, hunger, and altitude sickness. It enabled Inca messengers to run for days and allowed workers to build entire cities in the thin mountain air. To this day, the tradition continues. Chewing coca leaves is part of the authentic experience, a way to connect with the ancient wisdom of the mountains and truly acclimate to this incredible place, allowing you to embrace the wonder, not just fight for breath. The genius of Machu Picchu's engineering is legendary, but its greatest secret lies not in how the Inca built, but where they built. Modern geologists have discovered a startling fact. The city is built directly on top of the intersection of two major geological fault lines. In modern terms, this is the worst possible place to build a city, a zone of extreme seismic risk. But the Inca saw the world differently. For them, a place of such immense geological activity was not a hazard. It was a sacred power spot, a place where they could connect directly with the potent energies of the earth. Yet this spiritual choice had an astonishingly practical advantage. The same tectonic forces that created the faults also shattered the granite mountain into a dense network of fractures. The Inca didn't need to quarry massive solid blocks. The mountain itself offered them perfectly sized pre-cracked stones, ready to be shaped and fitted. They built their city from the very bones of the fault line. The result is a masterpiece of seismic-resistant design, a city built on unstable ground, using the fragments from that instability to create a structure that has endured for centuries.